So, the topic of today's lecture is my book. The book that I wrote is called Zen-Zen Stories. Okay? Zen-Zen, as you know, it means not at all, or not something, right? Zen-Zen, not that, not at all. So not at all stories. That's the title of my stories. It's connected with Zen because I like Zen Buddhism, but it's not only about Zen. It is also connected with my background, and my background is Christian culture. So Christianity compared to Zen Buddhism. It is also a little bit connected with mysticism. Mysticism is a kind of idea which is in many different religions, and the idea is that we can connect with God directly. So we can somehow feel the connection with God. The mystics have a mystical experience. A mystical experience is the experience of God and oneness of the world. After the lecture, there will be time to ask questions. So if you have any questions, if you don't understand something that I read, please ask me. You can also, after the lecture, you can also buy the books. Zen-Zen Stories, my experience of living in Japan. Thank you for coming to my presentation. Today I will tell you about the experience of living in Japan and of its outcome, the book Zen-Zen Stories. I first came to Japan in the year 2006. That's almost 10 years ago. I am now 50 years old. So I have lived in Japan 1/5 of my life. 1/5 of my life, but that's a pretty long time. So I feel like I'm almost Japanese. Unfortunately, I don't speak Japanese language. So I'm Japanese without Japanese. So please forgive me for that. Now, as an English language teacher, I traveled to many places. And I lived in many countries, including 3 years in South Korea, 3 years in Norway, 3 years in Greece, and also in Portugal and Poland. And of course, I lived in Canada. But none of these places, except for Canada, were as exciting to me as Japan. That's why I have been here for 10 years, because Japan is one of the best countries that I have lived in. I think it's a great country. Canada is still my choice number one, because it's my home country, but Japan is my second home country. What is so exciting about Japan? Of course, the exotic culture, the beautiful nature, and interesting, friendly people. I am particularly grateful to have met one Japanese family. They are Mr. and Mrs. Okuya and their son Taisuke. I don't think they are here today, so unfortunately I can't thank them again. But Mr. and Mrs. Okuya were very, very kind to me. And 3 years ago, when I became sick, I couldn't teach at the time. And for a period of few months, I couldn't pay them the rent because they were renting the house to me. And they said, it's okay, don't worry, just live in the house and please recover. So that was very, very unusual, very kind, and very generous of them. It was like my family. So I dedicated this book to them. So if you look at the first page, maybe right here, there's a dedication. I dedicate this book to Mrs. Mana Okuya and her family, whose help in times of need was unexpected and much appreciated. They truly embody the compassionate spirit of Buddhism. The main character in the book is Master Hakuin. The idea of Master Hakuin comes from an actual man. His name was Hakuin Ekaku. And this man, he was born in 1686. He was born in the village of Hara, near Mount Fuji. He became a Zen monk at the age of 15. At the age of 31, he became the head priest of Shoin Temple. At that time, he adopted his name, Hakuin. It's supposed to be connected with the words hidden in white. And possibly it is referring to the snow of Mount Fuji. So Master Hakuin had many Satori experiences. Satori means enlightenment. So some kind of understanding about the world. And one of the most important experiences that he had was at the age of 41, when he understood that the enlightened mind, or the body-mind, means working for the good of all sentient beings. Sentient beings means beings that feel something. Sentience is the quality of feeling pain and pleasure. So if you are a sentient being, you are a being that can feel something. So I've read some stories of Master Hakuin when I was young, and they made me very interested in Zen Buddhism. Because I'm a vegetarian and because I love animals, I felt also very close to Master Hakuin's idea that enlightened mind means the mind which helps all sentient beings. Now let me read you one story. The Buddhist stories are very short. The usual stories, the Buddhist usual stories that I've read when I was younger, they were the stories that are available in English, in American English, and they are usually very short. They are called koan stories. Koans were introduced by Master Hakuin Ekaku, brought from China and introduced to Japan. And koan, I know that it's a little unusual because some of my students that I talked to didn't connect with this word, so I don't know how you call it here. But koan means a story which is supposed to enlighten you. So you get the story, koan, from the teacher, from the master of Buddhism, of Zen. The student comes, the master tells him a story, and then the student is supposed to think about it for a while, for a couple of days, 3 days, 4 days. And when he comes back to the master, he is supposed to tell him how he understands the story, he or she. So koan stories are kind of enlightening stories. And the story that I will read to you looks like it's supposed to be like a koan. Okay? So it's supposed to teach something. All the stories in this book are short, and they are supposed to teach something. Do they really teach? I don't know. There are many koan stories which are very, very difficult to understand. So if you are studying Buddhism, and I know, Japanese people study Buddhism, so you probably know how difficult koan stories are. I'll give you example, before I read this story, I will give you an example of another koan story that is very famous. And it is a koan story written by Zen masters. Of course, I'm not a Zen master. So there's a koan story about 3 guys and the teacher. So let's say the teacher has a beard. So the master and 2 students. One student is looking at a flag that is moving in the wind. And the student says, "Wow, the flag is moving." the flag is moving. The second student says, no, 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 it's not the flag. It's the wind. The wind is moving. And the master says, it's not the flag, it's not the wind, it's the mind. The mind is moving. So this is a very famous koan, Zen koan, taken from a book by compiled by Paul Reps. He is an American writer, but he just compiled it. It was originally written by some Chinese or Japanese Zen master. I don't remember by whom. It's very famous about the idea of what is going on in this world. Is the flag moving? Is the wind moving? Or is the mind moving? So anyway, my stories are not as smart as this. This is a very smart story. I like this story very much. But here is a story one of the stories that I wrote. It's called Keeping Promises, Yakusok. Master Hakuin was famous not only in Japan, but also in many countries all over the world. Many Zen practitioners from foreign lands came to study with Master Hakuin. One day, a foreign journalist who worked for a prestigious magazine was supposed to interview Master Hakuin. Yet, at the last minute, he canceled the appointment and rescheduled it for the following week. A few days prior to the scheduled meeting, he canceled it again. Finally, 3 weeks later, he came to the interview, but he was late. Naturally, he apologized to Master Hakuin. I am sorry. Do you like Japan? Master Hakuin asked the journalist. Yes, I do. I like it very much. I like Japan very much, answered the journalist. What do you like about Japan? Inquired Master Hakuin. Oh, so many things. I like the kindness of people. I like the beautiful nature, the Japanese culture. Everything is very interesting to me, responded the journalist. And what is one quality of the Japanese people that you praise above all others? One quality that you think is most interesting or most important? Let me see, started the journalist. Probably that Japanese people are very punctual and they usually keep their promises. So this is the end of the story. So it's ironic that the journalist thinks, the most fantastic quality about Japanese people is punctuality. And of course, he's not punctual. He himself was late many times, right? And postponing the meeting. So there is a comment in every story. There is a Mumon's comment. Mumon is a famous Japanese commentator on Zen stories. In the early books of Zen, books on Zen topic, there is always Mumon. Who is Mumon? We don't know, but maybe he is one guy that lived actually in whatever century long ago, and he commented on the earliest stories that were available. So I used the same name, Mumon, because I think it's interesting to have a Mumon figure in the book, because every Zen story has Mumon. So Mumon has a comment. Sometimes these comments are not clear. Sometimes they are more difficult than the story. And in real Zen stories, the stories that are written by original Zen masters, Mumon sometimes is very, very difficult to understand. He writes in poetry and he is super hard to understand. In my story, he says, in the world of chaos, Zen practitioners try to control their monkey mind and tame their horse will by being disciplined and keeping their promises. What does it mean? Monkey mind and horse will are the Buddhist terms. Monkey mind means that you are very excited about everything, like a monkey. And you are looking at everything like a monkey, like, wow, this is interesting, wow, I want to go there, I want to go there. Horse will is very similar. A horse wants to run. A horse wants to be free. So people have the tendency to want to do many things. We want to go to different places at the same time. We want to be here and there with these and those people. We want to have all kinds of action going on in our lives. And we can't relax and settle down. It's very difficult to settle down. So to tame the horse will, and to control monkey mind, Buddhists use meditation, Zazen. If you practice Zazen, and if you think about life, the meaning of life and koans and so on, you may relax and control your mind and stop wanting something all the time. Because it is important to live now. So, one of the main teachings of Buddhism is live in the present moment. Don't always think about tomorrow. Don't always think about the past. You know, we have a tendency, maybe as you are sitting here, you are getting anxious. You are thinking, what will I watch tonight? What movie will I watch tonight? Or what food should I make for my husband or my wife? You are thinking about the future. Or maybe you are thinking about the past. Did I turn off the gas when I was coming out of the house? So the Buddhists say, calm down, relax, try to think about now only. Only this moment is important, and if you relax and think about this moment, you will enjoy life more. Life will be more interesting. So, because these stories are difficult, not only my stories are difficult, but Zen stories, real Zen stories are super difficult. So I try to explain them by writing also my own interpretation. So every story has my own interpretation here. Okay, I'm going to read to you what is the interpretation for the story that I just told you about, the keeping promises. Okay, so I am sitting in my school right now and waiting for a student. The student is already 30 minutes late. I suppose that she will not show up today at all. The student is not Japanese. Okay? I had in my school also non-Japanese students. I have several non-Japanese students in my school. I won't mention their nationality. I don't want to tell you where they come from because I don't want to create any negative thinking, any negative stereotypes about non-Japanese nationalities. I love all people are great, I have no problem. But Japanese people are very punctual and very reliable, but non-Japanese people are less punctual, and some non-Japanese people are very, very unreliable. So, why is it like that? Maybe because in Japan, discipline is very important. Or maybe because of Zen studies that you have in your culture. You don't need to study Zen as an idea. Just as a Japanese person, you grow up with Zen in your body. It's natural because it's a part of your culture. So, reliability is a super powerful thing about Japanese people. Your trains, the Shinkansen for example, they come with very, very little delay or very little time difference than they are supposed to. They come usually on schedule. Shinkansen comes right on time. But if you go to Italy, a train will come 1 hour later or not come at all in some countries. It is not to say that, for example, Italy is a bad country. It's a great country. It's a very romantic country. I like Italian people. My sister is married to an Italian man, and they have a baby who is half Italian, so I am kind of like a Cosa Nostra. I am like a grandfather of an Italian baby, you know. Mario Puzo. I don't know if you read the book, but I am like a godfather, Italian godfather. But so Italian people are great, but they are not as reliable. And you know, your technology is very, very reliable too. So your tools If you make something, it's reliable. Computers are reliable. Cars are reliable. Okay, I bought a Chinese wrench key, and after 2 times I used it, it broke. But the Japanese wrench key you can use for years and years and years. It will last. So reliability is a very important quality that you have. So I'm very glad. Let me continue the interpretation. If a Japanese student is going to skip a class, not come, he or she informs me about it prior to the class by an email, text message, or a phone call. For the Japanese students, a scheduled lesson comes first over most social engagements. The reason to cancel a class for a Japanese student is usually very serious, and mostly because of illness. It is rare for the Japanese students to cancel a class in general, not often. On the other hand, non-Japanese students that I have, they can easily miss a class. The reason for skipping a class include a sudden visit by a friend, being tired, being invited to a party, going to a picnic, having a barbecue. Any kind of social engagement is more important than the class. So if I have a student who is non-Japanese, they often don't come because they are at the barbecue or they are at the park with their friends. So I never know if I will have a class or not with a non-Japanese student. For Japanese people, appointments, yakusoku, are written in stone. So Japanese people arrive at the place of the meeting a few minutes before time and wait in their car to come on time. You know, when I first came to Japan, in Canada, we always come late, fashionably late, 15 minutes late, okay? Even a teacher at the university starts a class 5 minutes after, always, every teacher, because we want students to come first, and then it's time to kind of lock the class. We don't lock the class, but it's time to stop, you know, having people come in. So 5 minutes we wait, and after 5 minutes we have the teacher starts the lecture. So we're always a little bit late. And when I came to Japan, I was also a little bit late, and Japanese people looked at me like, "You are 2 minutes late." Yeah, 2 minutes late, normal, no? It's good, no? No. Okay. So now I learned. So now I follow the idea. Okay. Anyway, maybe I started 1 minute after 7. So I treasure this reliability because it's a great quality. Our world is very uncertain. Our lives are very iffy. Iffy means like if, maybe this, maybe that, I'm not sure. Our minds change easily. So the ability to rely on someone is very important, and it makes the world safer, and it makes it easier to live in. So I think that's about the end. At the end of my book, sorry, not at the end of my book. At the end of each story, there is also a set of questions. Every story has a set of questions. The set of questions is meant for you to exercise your mind. It's kind of like a mind dojo, mind gym, okay? So there are some questions that I want the reader to think about and answer. And the questions that are connected with keeping promises are here. I will read them to you, and let's see if you can answer some of them. So, question number 1. Do you usually keep your promises? Takahama sensei, do you usually keep your promises?
Maybe usually.
Usually. Good. Good.
Sure.
Do you like it when people keep their promises? The lady next to Dr. Takahama. You like it, right?
Yes.
How do you feel when other people break their promises? I'm sorry, I forgot your name, but I know you. But Hachisuka-san, right? Right. Right. How do you feel when other people break their promises? Do you feel very unhappy?
Very.
Unhappy.
Very unhappy, right? When there are broken promises, right? So, next question, maybe anybody please answer if you can. Are your countrymen, Japanese people, usually reliable? Yes or no? Yes, right, definitely. So this is not only for the Japanese. I talked a lot about the Japanese. The book is for international audience. So if somebody in Canada reads this, they can answer, so-so. Is the public transportation reliable in your country? So in Canada, it's not too bad. It's not too bad. In Mexico, I think it's much worse. In Japan, it's great, right? Is your government reliable? Now that's a question that maybe Japanese people don't think so, right? So, not reliable government? No? So, question number 3. What social qualities do you prefer? Being joyful and friendly towards everybody, so very social, but unreliable, or being socially reserved and timid, but reliable. So those are the comparison between, some of the non-Japanese people that I know here are very happy people. They are very social. They are very friendly, but they are not reliable. Japanese people are less happy because when I see on the street, a lot of people are kind of serious. They are not smiling and going like, hi. In Canada, everybody is saying hi to everybody. But in Japan, people are passing by and looking at the ground. But they are reliable. So which is better? What do you prefer? Reliability and not so social? Or sociability, being social, but not so reliable? Which is better? Okay, so let's choose first reliability. Hand up. Reliability. Okay, sociability, being social. Okay, I see. Okay, one person. So that's okay. Reliability wins. Okay. So, and the last question. On one hand, it is good to be open-minded and flexible and to easily adapt to the changing reality. On the other hand, it is good to remain steady in one's hopes, dreams, and plans. So think about the good things and the bad things, the pros and the cons of being steadfast and of easily changing one's mind. What does it mean? I mean here that Japanese people, when they set some goal in front of themselves, when they have some goal, some idea, they usually stick to it for a long time. For example, English. If you study English, you study for 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, never end. It's good, it's good. But other people, non-Japanese people, they come to 3 classes or 4 classes and give up very often. So I like this steadfast attitude, the continuation of your plan, continue. Do the same thing, but slowly, step by step, you improve, but you are dedicated. That's great. On the other hand, of course, flexibility and changing one's mind is also sometimes good. So, for example, if you go sightseeing, Japanese people very often make a schedule about sightseeing, and they go, this place, quickly, because we have to go this place, quickly, because we have to go this place. But other country people, they sometimes just stay longer time because, oh wow, this is amazing, so let's take time, let's look at it. So they forget the schedule. So planning sometimes is very good, but sometimes it's too limiting, I think. So planning sometimes is good, sometimes so-so. So anyway, that's all for my lecture. I would like to ask you for questions now. Yes?
Is it common for Canadian youngers to read Hakuin or Zen stories?
No, I don't know if it's common, but it's common for Canadian people and for American people to read Zen stories. I'm not sure if Hakuin Ekaku is as popular as you may have gotten the idea from the fact that I wrote about him. Hakuin Ekaku, for me, was particularly interesting because he came up with the idea of koans. He brought the idea of koans from China, and he popularized koans in Japan. So that's why Hakuin Ekaku was interesting to me. I have another idea of koans also. It is also in the book, and it's called visual koan. So visual koan. It's a kind of idea that you can see it in the book. It means that there is a collage of a picture and some word. So here in the back of the book, you have a few visual koans. Okay. So for example, you have glasses, sunglasses, and the word truth. So how do you understand sunglasses and truth? So you have to think about it, and maybe you will decide that, for example, the truth appears differently to us. It depends on what kind of glasses we are wearing. If we wear pink glasses, the truth is pink. If we wear brown glasses, the truth is brown. Okay? What it means is that, if I look at this tea is, from my point of view, this tea is healthy and refreshing. But from, sorry, what's your name? The co-worker of Giselle. Christopher. I'm sorry, Christopher. Maybe Christopher. Christopher, you are married to a Japanese lady, right?
Yes.
So you are also, into the Japanese culture. But some Western people don't like the green tea taste. They hate the taste of green tea. So for not Christopher, but for somebody, green tea is disgusting. Okay, very untasty. For me, green tea is very tasty. Which is the truth? Which is the truth? Both, right? So, if you look at a tree, what is a tree? A tree can be a house for a bird. It can be a road for an ant. It can be furniture for a woodcutter. It can be something that gives us oxygen for an environmentalist. So for everybody, there is a different perspective on what is the tree. And for the tree itself, of course, the tree may be just like me. I am a person experiencing something, and the tree may be experiencing something. So what is the truth about the tree? All the truths together. So anyway, this is the illustration, how to understand the idea that the truth and the glasses can be thought about. Okay? So visual koans, that is my idea. And the koans, original koans, that is Hakuin Ekaku's idea, are also our connection. That's why I like Hakuin Ekaku. But I don't know really exactly why I picked on him. I just, he just becomes more and more famous now. And here in Nishio, there was one teacher of Zen. He unfortunately passed away. Do you remember his name?
He's the owner of the ramen shop.
Ramen shop? I don't know. Just he had a temple, Zen temple.
Yes.
Yeah. What's his name?
Akita. Ramen Akita.
So actually, his photo is in this book. I can't right now find it, but you can find it in the book. So he also wrote a couple of books about Hakuin Ekaku, and he has an original painting made by Hakuin Ekaku's student of Hakuin Ekaku. So there are many people who are interested in Hakuin Ekaku and becoming more and more interested in him. So I think it's a timely connection. Hakuin Ekaku was a great Zen teacher. So very worthy of studying. So are there any other questions? So, generally Zen books are very popular in America. Very popular. Zen books have been introduced by Western teachers. Alan Watts is one of the famous teachers who is talking about Zen, and there are others, Philip Roshi Kapleau, and so on and so on. Zen is very interesting to Americans because it's very different from Christianity. So, any other question?
So,
Please.
so when or how did you know about the Hakuin or Zen movement?
In Canada, yeah.
Before you came here.
Definitely, yeah. Well, actually, I think I was 20. I'm 50 now. I was 20 when I started to read about Zen. So quite a long time ago. Yeah, Zen is very interesting. Was very interesting to me, and I was introduced to Zen by a friend of mine who was a Zen practitioner, and he would sit on a pillow in his room and meditate. And he told me about Zen at first, and then I started to read about that. But it's been a long time.
So you have been South Korea and Poland or other place. You always studied about the Zen.
No. I've read about Zen at first when I was maybe around 20, and then occasionally, from time to time, I would read Zen books. New books came out, and I would, read them. In Japan, the idea for this book came from a very funny coincidence. There is a Zen book which I don't remember, and I should have brought it here. It's a very small book, and it has a Zen circle, the painting of the Zen circle. And this book, it's a collection of Zen stories. It's a very nice book. I bought it in Marusen bookstore because it was looking cool, So I went to the bookstore and I looked at the books and, oh, this is cool, this is about Zen. I bought it. I came home. About 2 weeks later, I went to Marusen bookstore again. And I found this book in the bookstore. I'm getting really old, so I can't remember what I bought. So I bought second time this book. So I came home and I suddenly had 2 books that are the same, Zen circle books, right? And I thought, okay, there's some message from God to me about this. God wants me to write about Zen, so that's why I wrote the book.